Hey everybody, Erica here. This is my third video for the installment or series, Journey to My Masters, Part 3. Wow, wow, wow. I don't know what that sound was. It was supposed to be a sound effect, but ended up sounding like a dead cat. Anyways, or a dying cat. Anywho, so we're going to talk about vision and framing / storytelling today. So my assignment this week is to talk about how I would engage storytellers with communication. And the ironic part about all of this is that my organization is maybe not ironic, but some of the tension with me reflecting on some of these topics is sometimes I expect extreme alignment. But my company is not a nonprofit. It is a for-profit. So I had to shift and adjust. I'm no, that doesn't apply. That applies. Okay, so let's get into it. We're supposed to engage people, and the person that I engaged, they're not able to be on video with me, but we had a full conversation via text and on the phone. So they gave, we talked about it, and then they gave me their notes. I'm going to, look at my screen and read that. So if I'm not looking at you, I'm looking at my notes. So I got some pushback So what I started with was first TikTok, because as a doula, a community doula, some of my clients would say, oh, from TikTok. And I'll be like, oh my God. Everybody's experience is an experience, which can be useful depending on how you digest it and what your intention on watching that is, right? So since my app is MATRI, MATRI is for postpartum pregnant clients, melanated, African-American right now. And then African-American midwives who serve African-American clients, and then African-American doulas who serve African-American clients, right? So African-American. And right now, I want to, after graduation, because your girl needs a break. After graduation, I will start pulling on TikTok. So I have to have 3 different facing ads for each of my audiences. Maybe 4, depending on the postpartum and pregnant part. But right now, it's just going to be 3. So I'll have a client-facing side, a doula-facing side, and then a midwife-facing ads. And I have drafted those out, let's say, months ago. Just never did them because I wanted to program and get better screens, and then my workload for school got heavy. So, anywho, I told that to my person, and they were like, oh, I love that. TikTok, cool, that's great. So why not start with your family? And I kind of snickered. I was like, you're right. I said, the interesting thing is that sometimes the people closest to you aren't the most supportive. Familial people aren't going to be supportive because 1, they don't understand it. 2, they have their own gripes with what you're doing. And then 3, they may just be a little self-centered. So to circle or to expand that more, I had a great opportunity to be on this TV show called The Blocks, which ironically, the premiere of my season is tomorrow on Mother's Day. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So yeah, episode 1 airs tomorrow, and I fundraised to get on that show. I did not use any of my own dollars. Not one. So I'm really grateful for that. And 2 of the people who I wanted to participate, one was my uncle, two of them were my uncles. And these 2 uncles wanted me to go through hoops to get their support. I'm not doing that because you're a father with Black women, which is Black maternal health, which is what I'm doing. So I was just so confused, and I was disappointed. I was very disappointed in them not just $10, $50, $100. I was extremely disappointed. So I'm not going to say that family isn't who I want to be a part of it, but they're definitely not going to be the highest on my list to push out the message, because some of my elders, they're elders. They're older. They may not utilize the different platforms to share my stuff. Some of them don't even want to text sometimes, which I respect it, but that was my pushback for that. Even though I appreciated that message from my person who gave me their insight, but I was just, I was like, dang, you hit a soft spot for me. So, nah, not them. And then as for some readings for this week, my lovely book, Lead from the Outside, it's all the way over there, Stacey Abrams. In her book, she talks about net weaving, and that is one way that I know I am going to fundraise. So her definition of net weaving it focuses on creating a web of connections where mutual assistance in the sharing of resources and knowledge are the norms. For instance, the Maternal Health Network. Some of my peers who are doulas, who are lactation consultants, midwives, med students, I'm going to ask them to do it because we have an understanding of what's going on. Now, even some of them I have to fine tune because some people, no disrespect to the med students, because I will be one in the next 5 years. Some of them are a little bit brainwashed by the system, and I get it, but I'm still going to push the message out to them because they're in it. So if they don't understand it now, they may understand it later. So that was very important to me. But Stacey Abrams says, once you have identified and approached potential allies, the next step is to engage them effectively. Organizing joint events, co-hosting panels, or collaborating on projects can be excellent ways to solidify these alliances. And then she speaks about, how you curate your support of alliances, friendships, and advisors. And she really recommends personal introspection and to identify if you are somebody to invest in. I did a hair flip. I was like, of course I am. I introspect all of the time, sometimes to a fault. But also I love who I am, and I'm like, I'm not changing for no one. I love it. I've done a lot of work to be strong in this place, so I have to. So that was from Stacey. One article that we read, Spina 2010, they talked about a cognitive revolution, and then they document how leaders attempt to shape the beliefs and values of their followers. When I read that, I was like, it's giving cultish, and I don't want my app or my MATRI, the MATRI's organization, to be that type of ordeal. Like it was very strong. It was very strong when I read that. Probably because I was watching an episode of Veronica Mars. I'm rewatching it, and there's an episode on there kind of like determining if some of these students were in a cult. And I know because my app, the strongest organizations have a diverse group of leaders. I want that. I need us to come from different perspectives, but we all have an understanding on why we're here. Sometimes people get lost in the sauce. Some organizations' missions and visions get very diluted because of the people who they hire on, because they know somebody who knows somebody, or they're like good at something, but what they're good at doesn't necessarily match up principle, morality, and ethically with the board, and they don't find that out till later. So I feel like for MATRI, I'm going to have maybe a part of like the application process, you take a personality test. I need to understand what's going on. But the ironic thing with the personality test for me is that sometimes if it's for a job, you can try to answer the questions correctly based on what you think. But even then, it's like they ask you the same question like 4 different times, and you kind of forget. Maybe get a little fed up. That's what I have felt in the past. Like, this question has come up already. Why do you keep asking me the same thing? But of course, it's for different meetings. So when Stacey Abrams talked about the test, the different personality tests, I was like, yes, and I would love to know more that she recommended. And at this very moment, I don't recall them. So 2 more articles that I read through. One was called Getting Attention by J. King, and there's no date. And the page of the website is improving your nonprofit communication strategy in 5 steps. So because again, mine is not a nonprofit, the whole fundraising is not something that I extremely look at first. Now, like vesting and doing that way, like doing accelerators and then giving them like a % of my shares, that will be something that I can consider. And even some of the people that I hire, you work with me for X amount of time and you prove yourself over this time by X time. I know that's a lot of X variables. Shout out to math. You prove yourself by this point in time, then you can get vested in the company. But 2 of the things from the J. King article that I love are the storytelling and engagement. Because again, with social media nowadays, that's all they're looking at is engagement. How are you getting engagement? Is by the story that you're telling. And one person that I really, really admire, her name is Elaine Welteroth. Shout out to the Birth Fund, who we will be partnering with soon. I'm just speaking that into existence. She put on her Instagram page that there was this Caucasian woman that sued this organization for discrimination because it was for African American people or people of the melanated diaspora. And I rolled my eyes so hard because, Karen, go do something with yourself. There are so many platforms, organizations for you. You, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at this double-sided coin, you don't fit for this. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because think about this, Karen, while you wipe your fake ass tears. Oh my gosh, shouldn't have cussed. while you wipe your tears. This whole system was created without Black bodies in mind, but what was also built on Black bodies. Like, stop it. Go sit down. Go take several seats. You know what? Go sit in the corner. I was really annoyed by that. And this week, we had the privilege of having Mama Hakima, who was the OG, the original founder of Chocolate Milk Cafe. And she stepped down since, but I brought that to her attention, and she was like, you're going to have to make some decisions. You're going to have to pivot if you see it's time to pivot, or you're going to have to stand 10 toes down. And if you know me, I'm a 10 toes down type of girly. So because Black maternal health disparities is an issue, I don't see myself deviating from that until the system is changed. And looping back to why we're on here, talking about why or how whatever my third party or communication that I had with somebody else who kind of looked at my communication, a couple of people asked me, why don't you get into hospital systems? I said, well, hospital systems have so much more healing to do right now, and they're not ready. And since hospital systems are built off of a system, so a machine, data, and numbers, let me get MATRI all the data and numbers, and then maybe we can talk. I also told Mama Hakima in class, I said, ironically, the only way the hospital system can buy me out is for $2 trillion. With a T, not a B, not an M, trillion. Because by that way, I will have so much opportunity and impact where I can increase maternal health, Black maternal health specifically, over the whole United States and even the world. Like, I'm not going to think twice about anything. So, yes, enough of me rambling. But my last point, I read through MissionMet staff website, another source that we had to look through. And I chose the part where it said raising awareness through creative content distribution. And as a African-American woman, we are not a monolith, and sometimes society catches us or gets us caught up on that roller coaster. What do Black people think? Ask all of us, and then we'll give you an answer. So I want my app to be not a monolith for the Black and brown bodies that it serves, whether you're a care provider or a pregnant postpartum client. That's enough of my rambling this week. Ooh, 12 minutes, like 13 minutes, like we're on one. But yeah, I feel like I have a good pathway to do the content. Like, I've done a whole calendar. I just haven't like executed the calendar, but I have it written out. And yeah, that takes a lot of time. And my goal is June 22nd. That's graduation. That's when I'll contemplate, okay, let's roll it out for July, August, and then, do MATRI's waiting list. But before the waiting list, I have to start building up that momentum. So shout out to my people that gave me their insight, even though I kind of rolled my eyes to some of it. But sometimes you need to roll your eyes because you need to ponder the other side. I don't need an echo chamber of people on my team to give me what I want to hear, but that will also stifle my growth. A very interesting balance. So this was a fun week of reading and reflecting. Ciao for now. Bye.